Hey YouTube, this is Right Arm here with the second pilot episode of EYI. Enter your initials. I am back once again with Brimstone, so go ahead and say hello,
What's up, guys?
and DJ as well.
What's up?
And they are both knotted up at 7 points apiece. That's where we left off with our last show. We're going to go ahead and finish our two topics of discussion: the NVIDIA Shield tablet and GPU price drops in regards to AMD. So we're gonna go ahead and just take off where we left off with our last segment. So, anyways, we have the NVIDIA Shield. It's released. They had some crazy text-based game announcement for it, and somebody won and somebody lost. A whole bunch of people lost, but so the tablet is out. Go ahead, DJ. Why don't you go ahead and start and tell us a little bit about the Shield tablet?
All right. I believe where we left off last time, and sorry if you guys can hear a bunch of wind. I'm kind of outside. We left off talking about its functionality with everyone and where it kind of stands, but we haven't really talked much physically about it. Basically, it's an NVIDIA Shield, just like we had, except it's got like a 10.1-inch screen and it's a wireless from the controller. That's it. Wow, so amazing. And it's, in my mind, I already talked about this. It's not necessary, but I could be wrong, and people are probably gonna yell at me because they're like, "Oh, because I can play at Wally World now," and it is based on the K1 chip, and I haven't really read up on the Tegra, which is the base GPU chip that's in it. It's the Tegra series. I haven't really read up on those. I'm more of a Kepler for the GTX series and AMD series fan myself, so can't really say much there. But it is an updated NVIDIA Shield last time I checked. It is a little better in some ways, but it's a little worse in others. And I think where those kind of play at each other, they kind of take me away and put me back in for the NVIDIA Shield tablet.
So do you think it's viable? Do you think that it's going to be that it has a place in the market? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that it's a complete waste of R&D, and I think that they could have put it towards other cool stuff, because NVIDIA is like super cool about that. They came up with CUDA. They came up with all this cool stuff. I mean, they're like the groundbreakers of GPUs, and the NVIDIA Shield tablet just kind of disappoints me, actually, that they physically put that much time and effort when they could have literally just came out with it in the first place and been done.
All right, so Brimstone, does it got a place?
Well, I still stand by what I said earlier. Nope.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty clear cut. Now, we're considering it from a video game perspective, and a lot of what it's being put out to do is to be able to play games. Now, from a tablet perspective, just solely as a tablet, does it have the functionality to be just a tablet and not even worry about the gaming console?
Most definitely.
I agree there too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
if NVIDIA really put the R&D into it, they could have came out with a super tablet that just blows, the Surface Pro out of the water, just blows the iPads out of the water, just blows all the stuff out of the water. Because, I mean, with that Tegra GPU, they have the power to physically play PC-grade games, a little bit toned down, but the power to really play a game. They could separately render everything. They could completely blow everything out of the water. And if they just put that little extra time in to actually make it a tablet with a controller accessory, I think that's where they should have aimed for. And that's where I'm going to rest.
All right. All right.
I agree. Yep, I agree 100%.
So just the Shield as a tablet would have been just enough to put them over the edge with this device.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Yep.
They could have just blown the market out of the water, and that would have given one up on NVIDIA over AMD.
Okay. All right. So, I guess we'll go ahead and go into our last topic of discussion, and we're going to be talking about video card prices AMD card prices have been dropping back to essentially where they are all released at. Reasons for this? Anybody who wants to take
I'll let
this one?
Brimstone take this.
Okay.
I'll let Brimstone start this.
Okay, all right. So, as we all know, cryptocurrency became a pretty big thing again around 2011. It actually launched again 2010. I gotta say this, man. That cryptocurrency messed this market up horrendously. I mean, people were buying these things at launch at like anywhere from six cards to almost 10 cards. Like, I mean, we're talking about cases of cards for Bitcoin mining processes and Bitcoin farms. I mean, it was ridiculous. The R9 270X at launch was roughly under $200, and by the end of the month of its launch date, it was well over 320 to 350, fluctuating between those two price points through the whole entire time. I think that cryptic coins right now, just the whole cryptocurrency farming in general, is sort of dying out. I think all these firms and all these sites that have been losing literally billions of dollars in cryptic coins are kind of killing their own market, so to say. So honestly, I'm happy that they're back at normal price. So happy. I'm done.
Me too,
And I
actually.
think we're all pretty happy with the fact that the cards are getting there. But, I mean, the only way that we've been able to, farm at home has been with, GPUs. And typically it's the AMD GPUs that just so happen to yield a little bit better of an investment ratio, if you will. But is this the only reason that they're dropping, or is there something else that we're not seeing?
I think AMD and Nvidia are slowly, stretching themselves out a bit because they have all these different contracts kind of placing, bodies here, placing bodies there, working on this project here, working on this project there. And I think overall they're just trying to make up some of the money that they lost during the whole cryptocurrency phase, because they made a lot of money off that. And I think because they thought that sort of momentum was going to keep going, that they could just keep continuously, keep throwing money here, throw money there. You got to remember too, AMD's landed all the major contracts for games this entire generation in general. That's every platform, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and PC. So they have that to worry about now because they're the number one hand holder over NVIDIA. NVIDIA is focusing on accessories. That's how I look at them, accessories. They should be coming out with newer GPUs to keep up with AMD's line right now, and they're not. I think overall that's where I think that price point where we're getting back to, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that they're both going to start coming up with their new lines probably by the end of this year, hopefully.
So you think a lot
Which
of
is
this is based off of clearing out some of that shelf space that they're taking out in their retailers right now?
Yep.
All
Yep.
right,
Yep.
So if it's shelf space and it's retailers and everything like that, that's something to consider. Is there anything else that we should, why we're seeing some significant price drops over their cards, DJ?
I have a lot of points in my head that Brimstone kind of poked at. One of them being, yes, the Bitcoin mining, which was a big craze. There's a scooter behind me, little fucker. Anyways, Bitcoin mining, as he already poked at, as a cryptocurrency, and I love Bitcoin mining. I did it for about a week, and it failed miserably. Don't ever do Bitcoin mining. It is a waste of time and investment. Unless you dump $1,000 a week into it, you're going to get probably a third of that back. I mean, it's serious. And yes, people were buying batches of them. I saw a picture where someone had like 20 R9 290Xs just put into like 5 computers, Bitcoin mining away. And I mean, you got to think he's putting like $2,000 into this per like every 3 days for electricity bill, but he's only getting like a third to half of that back. I kind of went off topic. Anyways, back to AMD. Over the generation, if you look, AMD has always been about $100 cheaper than NVIDIA. And that's mostly because, I don't know, AMD is kind of trying to compete with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is coming out with all these new technologies. We got the NVIDIA Shield. We had the new memory chips that NVIDIA came out with the new 6 and 700 series batch, where it basically like doubles the ability for speeds of the memory. They came out with CUDA back in like 2008 somewhere. I mean, and AMD's kind of like copying a little bit, and they're trying to keep up by selling cheaper cards that do the same thing, because they're not coming up with all these technologies. NVIDIA came out with GTX Titan Z, and I mean that's like unbelievable.
So now, if we put them both together, now we're going to talk about bring up the Shield tablet. We're going to talk about the GPU price drop again. We're seeing NVIDIA take a different direction, and they are, doing everything with. Get my train of thought. God, I hate rails. We're seeing NVIDIA take on some market share that they've never been a part of. They might be spreading themselves too thin. Is this the time that AMD, takes that leap and catches back up with NVIDIA?
I think so, actually. I think that AMD is trying to catch back up to NVIDIA because, I mean, for a while they were king. But you got to look at what their cards are being used for. In AMD cards, they perform the same, if not better in some cases, and they're cheaper. NVIDIA cards, they perform well, but they're expensive. And if you look at their whole line of cards, it's kind of gamers / renderers / 3D artists, while AMD's kind of like the same thing except cheaper. And I think that's kind of where they're trying to catch up. NVIDIA did shoot themselves in the foot with this NVIDIA Shield. Granted, they have the 800 series come out like November, somewhere around there this year. So maybe we'll have the 800 series to look for. Yay, gonna get the 880 as soon as it comes out.
Nice.
And I think that AMD will respond accordingly and sell a cheaper version of the 880, of course, as they've always done.
So, Brimstone, what do you think? Do you think this is a time that AMD strikes while the iron's hot, realizes that NVIDIA might be spreading themselves out a bit too thin, and they make the leap and catch up?
Oh, I think they're already striking. That's what we were looking at this morning. The R9 290X2, son. Competing with their Titan Z at almost what? Last time I looked, over half the price. It's half the price. And it does exactly what the Titan Z does. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any much clearer than that. AMD, not to sound like some crazy fanboy or anything, but I think AMD is going to be able to surpass them. And just the sheer number of contracts that they were able to get before NVIDIA did. So on contracts alone, I think AMD is already outperforming NVIDIA.
We can't forget Mantle, though. That is like the big point that AMD's bringing in.
I kind of did. I won't even say why. I won't even say why, because I know people that watch this will understand why I said that. I think Mantle's got a long ways to go, and I'll just leave it at that. But overall performance of the card of raw power without any drivers that are trying to amplify the to-the-metal aspect of it developing in the games, I think AMD is going to be ahead of them probably by the end of the year. Because when NVIDIA's new cards drop, the only people buying those things are going to be high-end enthusiasts to designers, and that's it. They're not going to be able to adapt that sort of price point to what gamers are going to use their PCs for, and that's gaming. You know what I mean? No one's going to want to spend $600 just to game. No, they're going to want to be able to do a lot more than that, and that's where that mindset comes in. Is designers are going to be looking for more forward to those cards than the gamers will. So.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode of EYI. I'm going to go ahead and go to the main screen. Once again, if you checked out our last video, we are still looking for some extra panelists to join us. We'd like to do, we try to get that 4 range. So if you'd like to join us, please send a message and post a comment and let us know that you're willing and able to do something, and we'll get you scheduled to be on the show as well. We look to promote everybody that gets on board with the show, so just reach out and we will. Oh man, now I sound like an old AT&T commercial.
Actually, I want to bring in one more topic. This is about bit mining, actually.
Okay.
Because I just love it so much.
Oh, fair enough.
For anyone looking to bit mine, I'm going to give you a very good suggestion, and I will say this: take my advice on this very seriously. If you are going to do bit mining, do not buy a graphics card, any graphics card whatsoever. What you're going to want to look for is called an ASIC miner, ASIIC. These things are God when it comes to Bitcoin mining because they are USB powered. That's it. And it actually, if we're looking at performance-wise, is going to be, let's say the R9 290X to whatever does, let's say 1.2 gigahash, which is incredibly fast. But you'd still need at least 10 of them to get an effective rate of like 10 gigahash. An ASIC miner gets 3 gigahash, give or take, of one of them. That's 3 times the performance for like 1/64th of the cost. They cost about $30, and you can string 50 of them together on a USB hub and get like 100 gigahash, which is unbelievable for 1/80th of the money you're going to spend. And I cannot stress that enough. They've also got little boxes. They're like 1 foot by 1 foot cubes that get like 30 gigahash by themselves, which is ungodly fast. They're basically designed to do Bitcoin mining. That is all they're designed to do. And it's amazing.
That sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, I kind of had a geekgasm about it when I first read it.
Geekasm?
I gleeked all over my keyboard. Dirty joke for the day.
Well, I'm sure our viewers are going to appreciate that bit of insight. And once again, if you'd like to give some insight, get yourself promoted on the show that we're doing on. I don't know how often we're planning on doing these, but I hope often enough. So that's going to take care of it for Brimstone and DJ. I'm Right Arm. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care.
See you.